realize this, but yesterday, March 26th, was the 24th anniversary of when the San Diego Police Department discovered 39 members of the Heaven's Gate cult deceased from a mass suicide. Let me tell you about it. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I'm sure you would at least recognize his face. I am sure you guys have all seen this. This is Marshall Applewhite. He met his future wife, Bonnie, who was actually married at the time, at a hospital where she was caring for a sick friend. He told her he felt like he had known her for a while and like they had been in a past life together. And according to Bonnie, extraterrestrials had told her that her and Marshall were meant to be together. These two studied the Bible together. They were being told to fulfill these biblical prophecies. They thought they were reincarnations and the two witnesses in the book of Revelation. They went to other churches to discuss their findings. However, the churches didn't really buy it. So they sought out like-minded people and eventually settled on a name called The Crew. It was in 1975 when the Crew would meet up in Oregon, where they allegedly disappeared. Unfortunately, their disappearance was not due to aliens, they just went underground. By this point, the Crew was over 100 people. They traveled across the country, they had to sleep just on the ground and in tents and in sleeping bags, and over time they actually attracted all kinds of different religion. People saw it as new, it had aspects of Christianity, Judaism, so people were intrigued. They even had members that were part of the Republican Party. Unfortunately though, Bonnie did die in 1985 due to liver cancer, which kind of rerouted the group again. There were books written about these guys. LA Weekly ran an article about them in 1994. It wasn't until late 1996 that the group would move into a home. It was a 9,200 square mansion in Rancho Santa Fe, California. Every member paid $7,000 in cash per month and even had alien abduction insurance. This could only cover up to about 50 members though. However, you would get $1 million if you were ever abducted by aliens, or was impregnated by one. Never thought I'd say that on here.
Tape will say, what do you mean, leave your bodies, our vehicles? Well, actually, these aren't our bodies, our vehicles. We borrowed these for the time that we were here, for this specific task. And the task was not only to bring in information about that evolutionary kingdom level, but to give us the experience of working against the forces of what this evolutionary level, what the human evolutionary level at this time has become. And so it was a very good learning experience for us. And while it was a learning experience for us, it gave an opportunity for all who had ever received knowledge from that kingdom to have an opportunity to recognize us and this information and even move out of this kingdom.
The word thug comes from this group of robbers and assassins called the Thuggee, who operated in India from the 14th to 19th century. Admission into the gang was mostly hereditary and secret. Even their wives thought they were just traveling tradespeople. They worshiped Kali, the goddess of death, and chose their victims, usually merchants or travelers, based on the signs she left them. They would then befriend their victim, travel with them until the timing was right, and then the Thuggee would strangle their victim to death and rob them.
Here are some morbid facts about Joseph Stalin. During a Communist Party conference in 1937, Stalin was given a massive standing ovation. But no one wanted to be the first person to stop clapping out of fear of punishment. After 11 minutes, one man finally sat down and was promptly sent to the Gulag. Because of his father's harshness towards him, Stalin's first son shot himself but survived. After hearing about this, Stalin said he can't even shoot straight. When the Nazis captured his son during World War II, Stalin refused to make a trade for him and let them kill him. Stalin's guards were so afraid of him that no one called a doctor until 12 hours after he suffered a stroke. When they finally realized he was dying, his private physician was nowhere to be found. This was because he was already being tortured by the KGB for suggesting that Stalin required more bed rest.
Craziest things found on the dark web, part 2. And I'm only doing part 2 right now because I know that so many of you guys follow me because you want part 2. But just know that generally I do 1 part per day of any series that I'm doing. And it's probably all uphill from here because today we're going to be looking at one of the most crazy twisted things that's ever been on the internet. Defu love. This video can pretty much not be found anywhere on the internet right now other than the deep web. Now, I of course have not seen this video. Actually, if you have seen this video, you have committed a crime. The only good thing to come from the video is that this guy, Peter Scully, is serving life in prison. So this guy was a child rapist and a child torturer and filmed it all and put it on the dark web. Legend has it that the video still floats around in the deep web, and by the way, they say 80% of the deep web is somehow tied to pedophilia. The video is actually so bad that even the details of it, I can't even really tell you. All I'll tell you is it involves torturing babies. What kind of sick and twisted person would want to watch babies getting tortured?
Hey, welcome to your daily true crime minisode. In October of 2003, Brianna Maitland was living in the rural town of East Franklin, Vermont. She had been practicing jiu-jitsu for years, and she has been described by loved ones as witty and independent. This same characteristic led her to want to leave home at the age of 17. She moved 15 miles away wanting to be closer to her friends, but her family assures that there were no troubles at home and she just wanted to be more self-sufficient. In February of 2004, Brianna moved to Shelton, Vermont, where she moved in with one of her friends from childhood named Jillian, and she enrolled in a program to get her GED. One night in February, Brianna was physically assaulted by another female. According to the Charlie Project, although she had experience in jiu-jitsu, she did not try to defend herself. She ended up in the hospital with 2 black eyes, facial cuts, and a concussion. She did end up filing a criminal complaint against her attacker. On March 19, 2004, Brianna ended up passing her GED exam, and to celebrate, her mother decided to take her out for shopping and some lunch. She seemed really happy until all of a sudden, her mother Kelly realized that something was wrong. Although she told her mom she would be right back, she actually took a little bit longer, and the two just ended up meeting back at the parking lot. Kelly noticed that Brianna looked anxious, but decided not to pry and give her space and just dropped her home, not knowing it was the last time she would see her daughter. At around 4 p.m. on March 19, 2004, Brianna left a note for her roommate Jillian, letting her know that she was going to work at the Black Lantern Inn and would see her when she returned home. Jillian saw the note and didn't think much of it, but she was actually going out of town with her boyfriend. When she returned home on Monday, March 22nd, she noticed the note was still intact. But she didn't think anything of it and just figured that maybe Brianna had stayed with some friends. But when on Tuesday, March 23rd, she had still not heard from her friend, she decided to contact her family. Her loved ones hadn't heard from her since March 19th, and they decided to file a missing persons report. 17-year-old Brianna Maitland goes to work on March 19th, but when her shift at the Black Lantern Inn ends at around 11:30 p.m., she never makes it home. When her loved ones report Brianna missing, police give them some unsettling information. They shared that during the afternoon of March 20th, they found her car abandoned. Although the car was found in the route heading to Brianna's home, there was nothing normal about this scene. Her car had been found backed up into an abandoned house with a piece of plywood that covered the rear window. Some of her belongings were still in the car, like her IDs and her paychecks from work. At the time, police believed that this was a drunken accident and identified Brianna through her paycheck. They went to her work but couldn't find her. And although the car was registered to her mom Kelly, they didn't call her either to tell her they found it. When 17-year-old Brianna's car is found abandoned, police get a feeling that what they once believed to be a drunk driving incident could actually be something much darker. A witness saw the odd scene and decided to take pictures of it, although they didn't actually see the accident happen. When police take a closer look at these pictures, they believe the scene could have been staged. In early April of 2004, a full forensic search was done in the car, and around 500 volunteers joined in the search for Brianna. All of the information mentioned up until this point has been put together and corroborated by police, but they are still trying to figure out what could have happened to Brianna. One possibility that police came up with is that Brianna's case could have been linked to another missing person case, Maura Murray. When 17-year-old Brianna Maitland goes missing, police find some eerie similarities with a different missing person case. On February 9th, 2004 in New Hampshire, 21-year-old Maura Murray was reported missing after her car was found abandoned after a crash, and by the time police arrived at the scene, Maura had vanished. According to the Charlie Project, this possibility has not been ruled out, but it's unlikely. Tips kept coming in as to what could have possibly happened to Brianna, and one came in that made police take action. A tip came in that Brianna was being held hostage in the basement of Nathaniel Jackson and Raymond Ryans. These two were alleged drug dealers. A tip came in that 17-year-old Brianna was being held hostage in the basement of the home of Raymond Ryans and Nathaniel Jackson, who were alleged drug dealers. When police searched the home, there is no sign of Brianna, but they do find drugs, and Raymond and Nathaniel are arrested. Raymond and Nathaniel allegedly knew Brianna because they ran in the same circle, but her family does not believe she was involved with drugs. It is still unknown what happened to Brianna Maitland. If you would like to help, please share her missing person poster. I send Brianna's loved ones so much love and light. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next daily true crime minisode, which is going to be uploaded on Friday.
So I'm pretty sure every true crime fan has that one case that stays with you for a long time and that you can't let go. Mine's Johnny Gosch. He was kidnapped from his paperboy route on September 5th, 1982. Since then, there hasn't been a confirmed sighting of him. They think that they found pictures of him tied up, and I can't put those on TikTok. They're really graphic and really scary, but you can find them online. And his mother claims to have seen him again 15 years after his disappearance. He seemed scared. He told her he was involved in some really bad people, and he begged her not to tell anyone, but she had to because she was under oath. Johnny's case is very confusing and sad, and it's theorized that he was sold into a high-ranking trafficking ring. Unfortunately, due to his case's association with traffickers, the Pizzagate theorists really picked up on his case, and there's a lot of misinformation. But the confirmed evidence and information we do have is wild.